welcome to another episode of When Mars and Venus Collide. Before we do anything, please make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you know when we update new content. So today we are going to jump into the debate about black men going into college and things of that nature. Online, I see it's been a big issue. A lot of people have something to say. So what I said I would do is grab some clips from the internet, some interesting clips, see what some people got to say, and we'll come back and discuss it later at the end. Meet me in the comments.
I want us to look at it not looking at black men as a potential romantic partner. We have to take that out the equation because I think that when we have this conversation, people get very emotional because they only see black men as his value if they were his potential, as if he was your potential romantic partner. And I've been guilty of doing that throughout the years, but I think that we have to take that out of the equation. Let's look at them as brothers, colleagues, peers, people. You can grow up in the same environment and it looks like we have the same access to the same things, and we do not. I grew up in the same household as my three brothers, and we all had different experiences with the same set of parents. I am 28. I have a 25-year-old and a 19-year-old. The 25 and 19-year-old were not put on a college track, and we were in the same household. They were told to follow and pursue football from little league, 6 years old, till 18, 19 years old. That your only way to go to college and your only reason to go to college is to pursue D1 athletics. That's the only thing that has been drilled into my brother's brains in my household. And so I am telling this story based off of what I've seen in my household, and I believe is happening in a lot of black households and schools. If you are not an exceptional student, nerd, bookworm, or an exceptional athlete, people are not pouring into black men to go to college in most black environments, especially here in the South and shoot in the North. I'm from Connecticut, and none of my cousins who are men have gone to college. So I really want us to talk about it in a solution oriented way, not in a, well, are they eligible to be romantic partners? Take your feelings out of it and talk about how we can bring solutions to the community. Why are we not catering to the boys that are in the middle, that are just average students? Average black women are encouraged to go to college. Get degrees. It's for college, it's for black women. But black men, unless you're exceptional athletically or academically, people are not pouring into them. And I know this because I work in academic spaces. I am on the alumni board at my university, which is a PWI. I mentor young black students on the high school level here in Atlanta. So I'm talking based off of what I know, not based off of scrolling on Instagram, scrolling on TikTok, and just, running my mouth. So let's just have a real conversation, provide real solutions, create real initiatives that I hope those boys who are in the middle, who are the C plus students, get into college and help them pick degrees that will lead to a fulfilling career. That's it.
Over the past couple of days, I have been seeing the discourse on black men in college, and unsurprisingly, very disappointed. It's been rare to see anybody that wasn't just speaking directly out of their ass and trying to air some grievance against black men or against the education system. Truly disappointing, but not surprising. This is TikTok. People just flip their phone up and say whatever is on their mind. It's unfortunate that with a topic like this that is already very well studied and researched, that people who fancy themselves to be so educated neglect to put the least amount of effort to explore what some of that research is and instead opt to just spew their shitty opinions on the internet. As a black man with dual bachelor's degrees in physics and astrophysics, a master's in astrophysics, and I'll have my PhD in about 30 days from now, I thought I would weigh in with some actual research-based answers. First and foremost, socioeconomic status matters. If you grow up poor, you are going to be going to a poor public school that is not well funded. It's not going to have many opportunities, and many times it's not going to have sufficient curriculum to prepare you for the next level. Now, that's not necessarily something that is exclusive to young black boys, which I have heard many a black woman hop on here and point out that, hey, black girls also went through things like single parent households, which is true, but that's not a reason to shit on black men, because there's something that you're not realizing. And that's that the trend of black men not doing as well or going as far as black women in education, both primary, elementary, secondary, post-secondary, it's across all levels. This is true for white men and white women as well. White women perform and out-achieve white men in higher education and beyond. This is also true for every single demographic in every racial group. The women perform better and go farther in school than the men. This is true for every single racial group. Now, one thing that you often see is when there is some disparity like that, say, for example, between men and women, it is magnified at the margins. So you think about a marginalized group of people like black people or some other underrepresented minority. You see this magnified in those cases. A curious mind might wonder, why is that? Why do women in general perform better in school than men? That's also another really interesting topic that is highly researched. And studies show that young boys get in trouble a lot more in school than young girls. And part of the reason for that, I'm sure, has to do with social conditioning and some other things, but young girls are more compliant and more attentive than young boys. I mean, that's true. Boys are getting up, they're like yelling, they're fighting, whatever. It doesn't even matter why that's the case, but young girls perform better in school than young boys. And studies also show that for young black boys, that effect is magnified. Young black boys are punished worse than their white counterparts when they act up in school. Another way that you could think about that is that young black boys are penalized harder for acting like boys than young white boys are. Compound that with the fact that there are almost no black male educators. I don't remember ever having a black teacher in high school, in middle school, in college. It never happened. It never happened. No black male teachers for me. And I went all the way to a PhD. Now, I've had black women teachers every step of the way. Not a lot, but I've certainly had them every single step of the way. Never a black male teacher, though. Not one single one. Not one. You think that doesn't impact retention? Like, come on now. Be for real.
Black men are not going to college, and I'm not really vibing with a lot of y'all's takes. Can somebody tap me in, please? Thank you. I told y'all I was starting a societal collapse series, and before you run, I promise you, you're going to learn something. We're going to have a good time. A couple of things before we get started. I want you to think of me as your guide out of the Matrix. The original red pill. Not a guru, but a community service member. I'm going to tell you some stuff you probably already know. I might tell you some stuff that you don't know. And we'll have good discussion that will push the community forward. All right, let's get started. Black men are not going to college because a lot of them have early educational trauma. Black boys are disproportionately suspended, disciplined, and expelled more than any other group. Same studies show that black boys are seen as more threatening and older than their peers. And they just don't see themselves in educational spaces. Less than 2% of teachers are black men. We all know that black history is always ignored or misrepresented. And who wants to sit in a classroom talking about white people all day? And they ain't white. Chances are, if you are a black man and you didn't go to college, you were dealing with some economic pressure and some role expectations. Black men are pushed into manhood early, whether implicitly or explicitly. Let me explain. Your mama single. She raising y'all by herself. She may not have told you to get up and go do something because your daddy ain't there, but you did because you felt that pressure. A lot of y'all was born into survival. So education became a luxury and not a priority. And this will look like going to trade school or working in a factory as soon as you get out of school because the cash would be more helpful right away. And our last and final stop in Act 1 is prison pipeline. I'm a little disappointed. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm a little disappointed in some of y'all. I've seen creator after creator say, oh, well, I know prison pipeline exists, but still, do you understand the setup that this is? Let me show you how insidious this is. You can pause to read, you can screenshot to zoom in, but I gotta read this little section in the corner of a list of things that students have been arrested for at school. A kindergartner throwing a tantrum, scribbling on the desk, sneaking into school for senior prank, playing the Fresh Prince on a cell phone, and a science experiment gone wrong. I wouldn't come to school either. And a lot of these districts have a zero tolerance policy, meaning you do one of these things. You piss the wrong person off, you might go to jail. And I don't know about anywhere else, but I do know in Mississippi that if you get charged for something as a minor, they'll wait till you become old enough to put you in jail for real. Y'all say this ain't that big of a deal. You know it exists, but what? It is so disheartening to see other black people ready to point the finger at black men as if they are not operating in a system that was designed for them to fail like this. You actually don't know how real it is until you see it for yourself. And the thing about school to prison pipeline is that when these kids get arrested or they get entangled in the system because they're young and their frontal lobe ain't developed like every other kid and they make a stupid mistake, once they get in that system, there's no real reform. Once they get tangled up in getting arrested and trying to come in and out of school, there's no real reform. Ain't no rehabilitation. They just out there. But it ain't that big of a deal. We're going to finish Act 1 with some myth busters. Because unfortunately what I'm seeing online with this black men don't go to college rhetoric is a bunch of outdated thinking, lots of victim blaming. And that ain't how we get to a solution. We get to the solution through the truth. And this is the truth. Myth 1, black boys are just naturally more disruptive. In 2014, Yale did a study that showed teachers were more likely to focus on black boys when told to look out for misbehaviors. White boys displaying the same behaviors were issued a warning or support before they got punished. Myth number 2, black men just don't value education. In early childhood, black boys express the same amount of excitement for learning that white boys do. But by the 4th grade, only 18% of black boys are reading at grade level versus 42% of white boys. Okay, that's black men's fault. Black boys need more discipline at home. Black boys are 4 times more likely to be suspended than white boys for the same thing. Research explicitly states that there is no difference in the severity of the infraction. They doing the same thing. It's literally how schools are responding to black men. I'm forgetting the number of myths. Myth, whatever. They only into sports and rap. Society be funneling these boys into these careers. That's why they the only people you really see on TV like that. Research shows that schools who have black male teachers also see an increase in black boys' interest in education, especially in reading and math. Here's your red pill for today. If society doesn't see black boys as worth investing in, they will learn to stop investing in themselves. They won't go to college. That's an investment.
This is why black boys are failing in school and why black men are not going to college. You ready? Here we go.
Take a look at these 4 kids. These preschool teachers watched a video of them playing for a 2016 study. The study asked them to press the enter key every time they saw a behavior that could become a potential challenge. But the thing about the study is it's kind of deceptive. There's actually no misbehavior in the video. The kids are actors, and the researchers were using eye tracking software because what they really wanted to know was when teachers expect misbehavior, who are they watching? The study found that both white and black teachers spent more time gazing at black boys than other children. Black boys make up less than a quarter of the nation's preschoolers, but more than 40% of preschool suspensions. The study's lead researcher told the Washington Post that implicit biases don't begin with black men and police. They begin with black preschoolers and their teachers, if not earlier.
And there you have it. Everyone's dropping PhD level thesis think pieces on why black boys are not going to college when it's very, very simple. Black men, black boys exist in a system where everyone and everything is designed to make them fail. You saw that. In the longer documentary, someone sent this to me. Thank you very much, by the way. It's because of the video I posted. Thank you for the person to the person who sent this. As you saw in the longer video, right? Which in the longer video, I remember seeing the longer one, the boy was penalized. The black boy was penalized. So imagine living in a system, existing in a system, in a society, in a classroom where your everything is when the boy is playing, doing the exact same thing that every other child is doing, he gets penalized for it. This is the real world. So by the time these young black boys get to middle school, school is not as fun as it is for everybody else, because for them it is a place of antagonism. Once they get there, even without doing anything wrong, they are always wrong. By the time they get to high school, that's why a lot of black boys drop out of school, because the reason everyone's giving think pieces, no one wants to acknowledge this, is because we'll talk about psychology. If we acknowledge the psychology of the things done to the black boy that evolves into the black man, that means we get to excuse the black man for what he has become. And we cannot excuse the black man for what he has become. The black man has to be responsible for his own trauma. He has to be responsible for what he became. So we will never acknowledge what has happened, what happens to the kindergarten level black boy that makes him refuse to see school as something positive, because he has no positive experiences with it. And that is why black men are not enrolling in college.
I don't see nobody talking about this topic, bro. And trigger warning right now, because this might come across a little rash or a little hasty. I don't really care, because it needs to be said. And this conversation about the whole black man going to college thing, this is just turned into, I could tell exactly what it's turned into. It just turned into we're about to berate, degrade, and bash the black men parade. Just like y'all do all 7 days of the week, twice on Saturday, because y'all got time. Look, bro, first of all, the reason why black men don't value they just simply don't want to. Y'all know that starts at home, right? Let's go ahead and act real quick, right? Let's go ahead and just start the scene. Jarquavius Marshawn Jones, sit your stupid ass down. That's how like 50 to 60% of black women are talking to their black sons. You look just like your damn daddy. That's how y'all be talking to y'all black sons, bro. And then y'all wondering why they're not emotional intelligent. Then you wonder why they grow up mad and angry. So then, what's your next outlet? You're going to put them in sports, because you know that now they're 10, 11, 12, they're getting a little bit too big. Your little whooping's not doing nothing. So now you have to put them in a contact sport in order so they can try to emotionally regulate. Oh yeah, I'm about to put you in football. I'm about to put you in basketball. You need to get in some sports. That'd be the first thing that happens, bro. And I live that, bro. That's literally what happens. And then number two, y'all act like going to school, like black women. Stop this whole classism superiority complex. Anybody can go to school if they are taught the right skills. The last 20, 30 years since the movie The Barbershop, since Tyler Perry's Why Did I Get Married, since all the little Madea plays, has been black women be independent, don't need no man. Black women, go get your money, don't worry about no man, don't rely on no man out here. Don't rely on no man. That's what all Generation X and all the millennials told y'all. So y'all naturally grew up and y'all whole focus was, I ain't about to go to college, or I'm about to become an esthetician, I'm about to do something, I'm about to get some money, and I'm about to get away from black men. The reason why y'all don't get targeted as much, because y'all are not a threat. Look what happened to Malcolm X, unalived. Marcus Garvey, unalived. Bob Marley, unalived. MLK, unalived. Because when black men get education, we are a big threat. You know why? Because black men, we have the societal pressure to take our family with us, and we're not seen as valuable until we give back to the community. Black women, on the other hand, women in general, that's not a responsibility for y'all. Y'all are the weaker vessel and the more emotional vessel. So also y'all can get further while being more emotional and have less emotional regulation. Hence is why you see a black woman on a register or a black woman in places of customer service, and she can have the nastiest attitude. But if a black man of her same counterpart has their same attitude, he's not even getting, they're not taking him serious in an interview. He's not getting the job. So we actually have to try harder than everybody. And this conversation is proving exactly that. So, and then the third thing, these teachers since 2020 have been on this app telling you single black moms about how the black man's at reading and comprehension level is falling behind. Who are most of the single parents? Black women. So if we're going to sit up here and berate and bash black men, let's shed some light on the full story and what's really happening in that home. They're being woke up. Hurry up and get y'all ass up. Go to school. Da, da, da. That's how black men are being woken up. Yes, don't get me wrong. Yes, is it happening to black women? Yes, are there black women who are jealous of their daughters? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, black men are going to harbor that a lot more, because we're expected to help the same mom and the same granny, the same auntie, whoever we're staying with. We're required to turn around at 17 and 18 to help them. Also, black women, for women in general, it's acceptable for society, for socially acceptable for women to be broke. Black men have to have money. We have to have money. Men have to be able to provide. And if you're not providing, you're seen as broke, destitute. You're not worth my time. That's what y'all have been telling us. So now it's all of a sudden, it's a surprise when junior year come around and SATs come around and apply for college come around and FAFSA applications come around. We don't know how to do none of that. We don't have an ecosystem to help us do none of that. Do y'all understand that? And then, like I said, there's no emotional regulation. You didn't have any black man in your hood, in your society, to see them pay rent, pay bills, and do this, especially legally. So, of course, we're not going to be able to achieve the same things that y'all have, though, while being in the same household or in the same communities. Don't you get it? It's very simple. If you have your same-sex counterpart in the home playing their part, it's going to be way easier to do that because you've seen it. Humans are visual creatures. We're creatures of habit. So if we didn't have a black man there for 18 to 21 years, why would we just wake up junior year and just be able to start doing all this magnificent stuff y'all talking about? We keep talking about college and graduate programs. We have to start at K through 8 first. We ain't even about to get to high school. Let's start at that. Black men have the highest dropout levels for middle school and high school, but nobody's talking about that. Who's responsible? The same black women that were responsible for laying down, having said kids with these men. So we're not about to sit up here and just try to bash black men, or they just simply don't want to. Well, in therapy, the first thing that they teach y'all black women, since y'all the highest, y'all number one in therapy and y'all number one in degrees, well, you should know that that's not the real answer. Clearly, there's a deeper answer why he just doesn't want to. It's because nobody has seen him wanting to. Nobody has pushed him to want to. And black men are seen as, you need to get money first, ask questions later. That's how success is marketed towards black men. That's why most black men, we do grow up listening to rappers. We do grow up listening to athletes. We do grow up listening to entertainers, because that's what's marketed to us. What's marketed to black women is be strong, independent, and do not rely on a man for nothing. And when you get your wealth, keep it to yourself. So yes, it's completely different. Black men are a threat to the white infrastructure, because when we get success, they know that we're going to bring our wives with us. We're going to bring our kids with us. We're going to bring our bros with us. We're going to put everybody on. We're going to put the community on. When y'all get success, y'all hoard it, and then y'all start having a superiority complex of classism. It's not the same.
Y'all told black men that they had to have money to holler at you. That's why they don't want to go to college. College is the long play. College is 4 years, then sometimes an additional 2 or 3, sometimes an additional 5 or 6, depending on what career field you choose. Y'all told black men they got to have money right now. So they're not thinking about 4, 5, 6 years down the road. They want to go make money now. And regardless of what some men will say, there are a lot of men out there in the world that do things to impress women. Women, y'all may not recognize the power that you have, but I am willing to bet my last dollar if we put more emphasis on being attracted to intelligence, being attracted to character, integrity, being attracted to commitment, determination, drive, I'm willing to bet they'll start going to college. I said what I said. Because if you stop and think about it, a lot of the things that we do is to impress the other sex. Now, I know y'all are going to say, I'm decentering men. I hear you. And men, I know you're going to say, I ain't worried about these. I get it. But we all want attention. A lot of us want to be validated. A lot of us want to be chose, be picked. And we will do the things to get us picked. So that might be why they're not going to college. Another idea is a lot of black men are being raised by single black mothers, and they ain't got the money to support their sons through college. So how am I going to get into college when my mama can barely afford to feed me and my siblings? I don't feel like that's even an option. I don't have a lot of role models in my neighborhood that are showing me that I should go to college, because they didn't go to college. And then if I do have an uncle, a daddy, or granddaddy that is in my life, sometimes they hit me with, oh boy, just go get a job because real men work. So y'all help me to understand why they would choose college. And now y'all are ragging on trade schools, talking about trades that give you a job. Excuse me? As a hairstylist myself, I make way more money as a hairstylist than a lot of y'all college graduates. And from what I hear, y'all are struggling to find jobs with those college degrees. So let's not poop on trades, please. Okay, thank you.
it's a good thing that black men are going to college. I think it's a good thing that black men are ruining their lives. It's okay. Let them vibe. Let them do their thing. Let's exploit this opportunity. I don't know why I see so many black women putting their noses in business where it doesn't belong. Like, just vibe. Let it happen. And see what becomes of you. What becomes of us. Why are you trying to save them? They're not trying to save you. The heck? Only Jesus can save. I thought you knew that.
Wow. Okay, time for my 2 cents. So, unfortunately, this discussion has just showed me that a lot of our women are really hurt and angry at us, right? Oftentimes, whenever I'm having these conversations, the first thing I do is ask, do you care about your community? Right? Because that's an important question to ask. Because if the person really doesn't care about the community and the status of black people in this country, then you're having a conversation with someone who's missing context and nuance. And unfortunately, ladies, it's kind of weird that when you guys are having conversations about being a black woman in America, you want us to have sympathy and empathy and understand context and nuance. However, when it comes to black men, unfortunately, when we want to insert context and nuance, we are told that we're making excuses. Now, of course, black men are not perfect. No one is perfect, right? But the sad thing about this whole conversation is black men were singled out. If you pay attention to the data, all you guys have to do is look this up. A lot of the arguments that we have online are easily solved by just looking up the data. Just go look for yourself, right? And you will see that the gap is not even that big. Currently, it's 38% of black women with degrees, 26% of black men with degrees. That's a 12-point difference. And it's not that big of a deal when it comes to numbers because ladies, this is not a woman bashing channel. We don't do that over here, but we have to speak facts. If 38% of you do have degrees, that would mean not even almost, over 60% of you don't, right? And in the conversation that I was seeing online, it didn't look like that. It looked like a bunch of women having this conversation when in fact that would mean most of you don't have your degree, right? And unfortunately, in our community, it feels like we accomplish things just to be able to look back at our community and point our fingers. This conversation should not be about black men failing. It should be how we're failing our black boys, right? Because if you look at the data, once again, black men are doing the best they've ever done in this country. Right? We make more than we've ever made. We are more educated than we have ever been. The 1 in 3 black men will go to prison is now 1 in 5. Look it up. Right? Black men are more likely to go to college than prison. Look it up. We're going to start something on this channel. Hashtag stop lying on black men. Right? And ladies, feel free to take it as well. Feel free to start your hashtag stop lying on black women. If you can go in and find facts to show that what the narrative is about you guys and what people are saying about you is not true, show the facts. Let's stop lying on each other, right? At the end of the day, I want us to just realize we are all we got. I don't know when y'all gonna realize that, black men and black women. Nobody's coming to save you. You can try all you want to dismiss what you see going on in your community. You can try all you want to try to run over to the other side. It's not going to help you. That's what we often do in our community, thinking that we're going to, all right, I can't deal with these black people and these black men and these black women. I'm going to go over to the other side. Vaya con Dios. You going over there to just trade in new problems. Everyone has issues. And basically what you might be signing up for over there may be a little bit more detrimental to you than you think, but we can get into that in other videos. At the end of the day, black men, don't feel bad about where you are in life. Concentrate on what you need to do to get where you need to get. and life will be perfectly fine for you, brothers. You hear me? And don't take it out too much bad on our sisters, man. They like I said, they angry, they're hurt, they going through whatever they going through. That does not excuse the behavior that we see from both sides, ladies, before y'all try to chop my head off. But at the same time, look, man, I love this black shit. I love being black. I love you, black man. I love you, black woman. I love my community. So at the end of the day, we got to figure this out. You heard? But for now, keep navigating those cosmic collisions and meet me in the comments later.